ESPN NFL Nation reporters in the NFC North answering various superlatives about the NFC North in 2025, including which quarterback has the most to prove in 2025. Now, this is fun because there is 4 teams in the NFC North. There is 4 NFL Nation reporters writing in this article, and there's 4 of us. So before we dive into the article and the answers, I want just real quick, what is everybody's answer? I will start with you, Joshy. The quarterback in the NFC North with the most to prove in 2025 is?
I've been wrestling with this question all day. I'm between the 2 I'm at right now are J.J. McCarthy and Caleb Williams.
Okay.
I'll give you my points after we go to the room.
Okay. Are you going to pick one or are you picking both?
I'll once we talk it through, I'll pick one.
Okay. Will, quarterback with the most to prove in 2025 in the NFC North is who?
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams from the Bears fan. Will, we go to Hunter now. Hunter, the quarterback in 2025 with the most to prove in the NFC North is who?
Jared Goff.
Okay. Interesting. I was going to go the J.J. McCarthy route because I think there's just so much unknown.
Yeah, so the reason I'm having a hard time is I think J.J. McCarthy gets 2-3 years regardless.
Sure, I agree with you.
And his clock, even though he was drafted the same year as Caleb Williams.
He's a rookie.
Right, starts later. He hasn't even taken a snap in regular, like a preseason snap. Like, he hasn't done anything for the Vikings. Now, he does have the added factor of, well, Sam Darnold was able to have the best year of his entire life with Kevin O'Connell. You have all the weapons, and you have a team that seems to be ready to compete for championships. Like, that's a good roster. The skill players are good enough. But the fact of the matter is, not many quarterbacks, and that's why Jane Daniels was such a revelation, come in and instantly turn their teams into competitors. The thing with Caleb Williams is first overall pick. If J.J. McCarthy goes out and looks good, Jane Daniels looks good, Drake May looks good, and he's at that level with the investment they made in the offensive line, the continued investment in skill players, and Ben Johnson as your head coach, you start to ask some serious questions. Like, does this guy have it from the NFL level? I think it's Caleb. And I don't want to just that to come off as me being a Caleb hater. I do think that all 3 other quarterbacks have a longer leash before you start asking like very serious, does he deserve to be here questions?
The thing I find fascinating about this exercise, 2 things really, given our answers, is I would put Jared Goff last and Hunter put him first.
I think Goff should probably be second if I were.
Really?
I think he has to prove he's not a Ben
Didn't you just say you were between 2 guys and he was not one of them?
Yes, but I talked myself all out of it when I realized all the mitigating factors that would be in JJ's benefit.
JJ might be deeper down the list.
Because no one's ever going to completely... I guess there's probably been here or there. There's been a quarterback written off of 1 year starting.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Bryce Young was damn close to that. But, like, yeah, you got to prove that... Jared Goff's been good for one period of his life, and that period of that life was Ben Johnson related.
That's correct.
And he was the hottest commodity. He forewent jobs 1 year to stick in Detroit, and then was the leading candidate again. 2 years in a row, everyone was like, we want this guy, and he basically got his pick of the litter.
So you view the Jared Goff one as prove it with the offensive coordinator.
Right. Prove, and like, I mean, let's be honest here. Jared Goff has let down his team in the biggest moments.
Yeah.
Goff turning into Goff is a thing that people say, and they're like, well, he plays pretty well. He gets the ball out quick. He completed all these passes in a row. And then push comes to shove, and Jared Goff does Jared Goff things. Everyone goes, well, that's why you're Jared Goff.
I hear you on that. Hold on. I want to continue to whip around, but I just want to acknowledge all the YouTube comments starting to roll in on this topic. Chef Ed, Jail, and Seth, I see you. We'll get to your comments in just a moment. So I want to go back to Hunter real quick, because the Jared Goff thing, I just want to confirm with him, is that's related to the coordinator?
Yeah, absolutely. And two, like Tausch was even talking about it this morning on Wildy and Tausch, like that team's getting to a point where they aren't necessarily old, but they're starting to show it. And if you're going to be a Super Bowl contending quarterback, you've got to be the guy to carry this team. He has to prove that he is the guy that can carry the team. And if he can't this year, I think the Lions need to start looking elsewhere.
Yeah, this will be year 10, if I'm not mistaken, for Jared Goff. Drafted first overall in 2016 NFL draft. This will be year 10 for him in Detroit. Well, year 10 in the league.
Jared Goff cost his team a Super Bowl
Yes, he did.
because he only knew how to read defenses and knew where to go with the ball because the coach would tell him when he got pre-snap looks. Now, I think he's probably evolved past that a bit and has gotten better.
We would hope so, yeah.
But there is a level of he's only shown a degree of hand-holding that would make it, it makes it a question.
Yeah. I mean, I think the fun part about this conversation is I don't know that there's a wrong answer. Because when you look at the NFC North, it is well known in the league that it is going to be the best division in football again. Or at least we predict it will be the best division in football again. 3 playoff teams last year. The Bears are up and coming. The hottest head coaching candidate, as Joshy mentioned. Last year's number 1 overall pick in Caleb Williams. I'm just surprised none of us said Love, to be honest with you, because I think we could all make the argument he's probably second or third at worst.
I don't mean to poo-poo this exercise because I do think this is fun, but other than Patrick Mahomes and I think now Jalen Hurts, the other 30 starting quarterbacks in the NFL have a lot to prove. Like, there's nobody else where you're like, it's not like when we had Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers all in the league, and you're like, okay, we know who these guys are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but I think we're asking a different question here. We're asking if Jordan Love can elevate his play to a type of play that would put him in a conversation with the guys we didn't even mention, and like Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, who have something to prove, but they have to prove, can they do it at the ultimate highest level against the best competition?
Right.
Where I think Jordan Love has to prove he can elevate his level of play and play more consistently.
He can get to the level of those guys, right?
Lamar has multiple MVPs, and he has to prove he can win a damn Super Bowl.
Correct. He's got to prove he can win the big game.
Right.
Josh Allen, same thing, right? I mean, he is an unbelievable quarterback.
I mean, and let's be honest, he's played the competition the best in the AFC. He's the one that you think actually has a chance. Lamar has come out multiple times and played to a degree where you're like, this guy seems over his head.
Yeah, what happened to him?
Right.
Where did regular season Lamar go? Where Josh Allen has been within striking distance very many times.
Took one of the most improbable games I've ever seen in person. Like, it was that. I mean, that game is like an all-time great game because of the way they were. Like, he responded. Mm-hmm. He won that game, and then next thing you know, he did it. And he had nothing to do with it. Insanity.
Okay, so Seth on YouTube, I think, makes some really good points here. His pick is Jordan Love, but here's why. Williams has a new coach, so he can get a pass. J.J. McCarthy is an essential rookie, so he's completely allowed to fail. Jared Goff is good, but nobody expects anything more than good out of Jared Goff. And Love is good, but people are expecting him to elevate to a top 5 talent or elite territory. So the pressure is there to prove he can or is that. And I think that's an interesting point by Seth on Jordan Love, because the pressure on Love, I mean, the fun part about this conversation, as we just alluded to, is the pressure looks different for all of these guys. Right? The pressure looks different for Jared Goff than it does Jordan Love, than it does Caleb Williams, than it does J.J. McCarthy. It just does. That's how it plays out here. I think the Caleb Williams play, to Will's point and to your point, Joshy, is fascinating. Because, Josh, you gave me such a hard time last summer calling me a closeted Bears fan.
Yep.
Because I consistently said, and I stand by this, that Caleb Williams entered the safest position for a number 1 overall quarterback maybe ever.
I think we underrated the value of coaching in that.
I would agree.
In that recipe, when we put it all together.
I agree. But I more meant it in terms of tools. And I think you would agree with me on that, right? They put the receivers around him. They put the backs around him. They added a tight end in the draft now this year. And now you add the extra layer of, oh, yeah, by the way, he's got the hottest coaching candidate in a long time, one of the best offensive minds in the NFL, now leading the charge in Chicago.
I can make the case that if Ben Johnson can make Jared Goff look like that,
he better be able to make Caleb Williams look like that.
Right. Like, I should at least see Jared Goff level play from Caleb Williams.
Yeah, that
would be sort of the minimum.
Well, despite, and as unfair as this is, despite it only being year 2 for Caleb Williams, there's not a lot of excuses anymore, right? They upgrade the offensive line via trades and free agency. Like I mentioned, they drafted tight end with the 10th overall pick this year. It was a 10th, 9th, regardless, whatever pick they had. High pick for Colston Loveland. They have all the receivers that they had last year. Rome Odunze another year.
Allen.
Yeah, well, Well,
Who?
whatever. They still have DJ Moore and Roma Dunze, right? I mean, like, they're still in pretty good shape in terms of the skill position players. So Caleb is in a spot where if it doesn't start to come together for him this year, all of a sudden you're going, uh-oh, right? They may have a serious problem in Chicago.
Yeah.
For Love, if he's just average again, you go, well, they way overpaid him, and that's going to screw them going forward.
Yeah, but they overpaid them in the Packers way, where
Sure.
it's not going to, as with every Packers contract, short of you being physically unable to perform on a football field, it's not going to look that bad when they get out of it in less time than you expected. I do think Jordan Love is under pressure, and I think the position itself lends itself to that. But we've seen him be, I mean, for a stretch, the best quarterback in the NFL.
We sure have.
You can't say that about any. Maybe you could try and make the case for Jared Goff having like a regular season stretch where,
Yeah, but not that good.
like, the lack of incompletions thing was a big thing for him.
Yeah.
He had that
But
stretch
even
when
at
they
that
put
level,
up 50 against Kansas City on Monday night, too,
Yeah.
when he was with LA.
Yeah, where it,
yeah,
it
true.
felt like he was doing something. Well, he was doing something special there, but Jordan Love at his very worst is going to be. Why does that microphone keep turning on and off right there?
I think I have the power to do that from this little board to my left here. How fun is that?
Why are we derailing things just because a red light is flashing in front of you, Josh?
Does it work? Can you hear that? I don't know how this works. Okay.
I mean,
Well,
I can hear
because
your
that
mic
microphone
clicking.
should've-
Can we get back to Jared Goff, please?
That mic shouldn't be clicking on and off unless somebody was doing something stupid. The point I was making is Jordan Love is at least good enough to be a starter. We know that about him.
Yep.
We still think he's young-ish in his progression to being a full-time, maybe a franchise guy. Is he or is he not? I think you paid him all this money thing is a poor excuse because if you want a starting quarterback that isn't on a rookie contract, that's just the price of doing business. And at odd times, there's anomalies that end up going for under that, like Baker Mayfield for one comes to mind. But he also was another team away from being a journeyman. Because remember when he played on 48 hours of prep time for the Los Angeles Rams?
Yeah.
Which that was the time he was started with the Panthers that season.
Yeah, he was all over the place that year, yeah.
So aside from those cases where there's a revelation or a Sam Darnold who then ended up now
Yeah, there
getting paid.
seemingly is about one every year.
Yeah.
Geno Smith a couple of years ago, yeah.
Right, and these guys pop up and they end up actually carving out a career for themselves. Like Jordan Love, if he's not a Packer in 2-3 years, he's going to be somebody's starting quarterback.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like that's what we know about him, and I think he still has to elevate himself above that for them to truly get where they want.
All right, so the official Mr. Irrelevant rankings of the quarterbacks under the most pressure in the NFC North. I believe we have landed on number 1.
Caleb Williams.
I think so.
Did you forget?
No,
He did.
I was trying to figure out whether or not we're putting Jared Goff there because I think Jared Goff goes 2.
I want to put 1 Williams, Jared Goff and Jordan, 2 A and B, and then 3.
Well, 4.
Yes, correct. Yeah, because
McCarthy.
they've got to tie it too.
We can do ties though.
Sure, we can.
No, no
Who made
ties.
the rules?
Ties like kissing your sister. Isn't that what they say?
Yeah. We
might.
can't have that.
I don't have a sister, so I don't.
I don't think the actual sister is the important part there.
Hell.
It's just meant to be sibling. Could be your brother.
Oh, okay. So a tie would be like kissing my brother.
Yep.
Happy Father's Day to him, I guess. Good stuff. Okay, so 1 Williams, 2 Goff, 3 Love, 4 McCarthy.